Good afternoon, viewers, and welcome to Listen. Listen is the show which discusses the challenges and insecurities of adolescents, as well as the challenges of parenting and adolescents. We are looking at life through the eyes of an adolescent, coming to you live from TV Africa. We are also on DSTV channel 362, Go TV channel 175, and we're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube channel Ali Television Network. Last week, we started part one of the fathers, how much information they have on puberty and how much of it are they passing on to their sons and adolescent daughters, as well as also finding out if the information they have is correct. Today, we're going to continue, and we have a young man in studio with us going to also dissect and analyze what the fathers have to say. So today with me in studio is Mr. Babafemi from last week and Dr. Andy Ayem. Also joining us today is Sylvester Ajay. Welcome to the studio, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
So last week we ended on respect and fear being mixed, confused by parents. But before we touch on that, a lot of the messages that came after the show, a lot of the young boys were saying that please tell us, sit with us and have that conversation with us. Don't let us discover on our own. Because some of them were mentioning that some of their discovery did not end well. But they didn't have a choice but to listen to what their friends were saying based on experience. So again, it brings me back to the topic. Should we tell them or not? Should we take them through that, every age and the information we put out there, or we should still stick to wait till they become, as they experience the changes, we talk about it? I'm going to start with you, Dr. Ayem.
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you to the viewers for the questions that have come. Yes, I think for everything we have to prepare.
Okay.
So we have to prepare, first know, understand our own experiences, craft it into messages that can be shared, and then share it.
Okay.
So a lot of us have not taken time to really sit to craft our experiences into messages that could be shared. So as the experience go by, a lot of people don't note the significant areas of it. For instance, if you take an area like the children being different, and a parent...
When you say being different, as in the same family?
In the same family, every child is different, and every child is growing differently, and every child is experiencing different information, different...
So if, say, there are three boys,
yes,
each one of them is experiencing differently?
Yes, because they have different friends, different groups, different. So when the child is interacting with you, most children cannot wait. So they quickly want to get the information because they cannot wait. So when they come to you, they mention one or two things which will tell you where they want the information.
The specific area.
So then you would have to go in there. And from there, as you interact, you get to know what the person wants to know.
The person. Let me mention my WhatsApp number. As you know, this is a live and interactive show. You can send your messages and comments via WhatsApp, and the number to send it to is 020-723-3302. The number again is 020-723-3302. Listen has been made possible only by the kind support of Cresage. They say they will floor you. Lesh Fortune Limited, Nax Wardrobe, and also Mirror Spa. Mirror Spa for all your wonderful pedicure, manicure. That's the place you want to be in Trasaco. Lesh Fortune provides you beautiful concepts for your interior decor, curtains. They have blinds, whether it's a hotel, home, whatever kind of interior decor you need, you want to go to Lesh Fortune Limited. They are located on plot number 50 on Indaka Road, Spintex. Cresage is on the local road, Usu, and Nax Wardrobe is located at Pokwase. Okay, so, sorry, I cut you in earlier. Yes. Okay, please continue.
Yes, so when you are interacting at any age, you get to know the information that they have or they want. And in interacting, you get to know what they have believed or have understood.
Okay.
And then from there, you provide, because you have gone through it in all the stages.
Okay.
But when you don't distinguish among the children and you give general information, some may not be there, some may be there.
You see, when you say distinguish, okay, we have boys.
Yes.
So let's say, for example, you have 9 12, and 14.
Yes.
They're all going to experience the same kind of changes.
Yes.
It's not going to be different.
Yeah.
So if we put the 9, 12, and 14 together to talk to them about puberty, do you think that one, as well, maybe two of them will not get it better than the other one, or one will think, oh, what's that he talking about? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. So I'm saying that the 9 will have a different perspective from the 12 because of their experiences and their peer discussions they've had at their level. And even the beliefs that they have formed at their levels will be different. But as you interact with them, you get different perspectives. Like I was telling you the other time when I sat with my girls to talk about menstruation. In fact, the oldest was more interested in what...
How old was she at the time?
No, when I was doing that discussion, they were, I'm talking of 18, 20 or something. But the oldest was more interested in what makes pregnancy and that kind of thing. Out of the menses. The youngest was interested in how to manage yourself in the menses. Because the older one had also, they had different, even though it was menses. They had different
priorities of information they wanted.
That they wanted to get. The boys are the same, because I remember when I was talking to my son and the friends, some of them wanted to know about homosexuality, some of them wanted to know about straight sex, some of them wanted to know about, so they had different information that they had questions to discuss on the same topic. But different people had different experiences. So when the parent starts interacting, it will be one topic but different perspectives. And those perspectives are the answers they actually want. So that if you are not able to provide for various reasons, religion or whatever that you don't provide, then they quickly go to the friends.
Talking about religion, it's over thing. Does our religion or our Christian beliefs, okay, not Christian beliefs, but our religion, it could be any religion, we find that religion shrouds the topic of adolescents and the sex education and the information they must have. Why is it that?
When you look at this point of religion, you see that religion is even cultural. The way somebody will practice one particular religion, for example, Christianity religion in Asia will be different from how it is practiced in the West. It will be different from how it is practiced in Africa. These are by observations. Now, because background plays part in religion. I mean, whatever we call religion, background plays its part. Now, looking at this, when you look at our background, there is a silent reaction towards this thing in our part of the world. I mean, you don't want to. I've grown up with some people. I've heard some ladies saying that because their parents didn't want them to have extramarital sex or sex at a certain age, they tell them that when you begin to have menses, don't let boys touch you. That is literal touch, like physical touching. Because if any boy touches when you are in your menses, you'll be pregnant. Even some people growing up, because they wanted to cut them away from guys. So you see somebody, I've heard somebody who said when she started having, and a boy just in school just touched, she started crying. Hey, I'm pregnant. Hey, I'm pregnant. Hey, I'm pregnant. Now this is what I think, rather than sitting them down, like doctor is saying, rather than sitting them down and tell them what really leads to pregnancy, you really want to cut them off totally from even sitting with a boy.
Is that possible?
So coming out to religion, we carry those things into religion. Those cultural mindsets. It maybe these days many churches are now, or some few churches are now maybe doing seminars for some adults. In the main church, for Christianity, for instance, which is the side I'm coming out from, it's so difficult for an average pastor to speak to an audience, a matured congregation, to use the word sex.
Yeah.
So, but it is not because of religion. That's what I'm trying to say, that it has its background.
Okay.
Because people that are not even heavily into religion, but the cultural something,
it's still
they protect this heavily.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this ongoing discussion around homosexuality or something. I'm not here to discuss that, but I'm saying that if you see there is a unison between the Muslim, the Christianity, and the traditional in their approach, in our setting. We cannot let this thing happen, you know, that kind of something. So you see that it's a mixed. So religion doesn't say don't educate. If you really look at it in the sense of it, where they brought this religion from, they are into this kind of education. But we mix our own with. So it is not the fault of religion, it's the fault of
the culture.
The cultural background.
Wow. Okay, hold that thought. We'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll hear from Sylvester's perspective. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the studio. Before we took the break, Mr. Babafemi was explaining to us the reason why it's not religion, but it's more of our culture. Now, Sylvester, we've spoken a bit about the information, that how much adolescents should have, or at what point they should have it. But from your experience as a young man growing up, do you think that, did you get the talk, first of all?
I never did.
You didn't?
At all.
So how did you get information out on puberty?
Well, it's the kind of relationship we have with our peers in school. So it's more like I discovered it myself.
You discovered it like gold?
No. So when we meet in school, we meet boys, and then everyone is talking about how they are going through that stage.
Okay.
Yes, so you pick, you know, there are certain information, you know some already.
How do you know it?
Oh, well, it comes with experience, personal experience.
What do you say personal experience? What do you mean?
I mean, when you're in that stage, you learn things with the situation at hand or the problem at hand, whatever that's happening at that time. So it's what you learn over there. That's what I'm terming as personal experience.
Okay. So the changes that you're going through yourself.
Yes. And then what our friends also tell us. So me, for instance, we met in school, we're talking, guys, break time or after school, meet and we talk. Yes, so you just add on to what you know already from what they are saying. So
don't you worry that what they're saying, apart from the experience, they may be giving you information that, okay, so in a sense, they're not giving you information. They're just talking about what they're going through.
Just
and
like,
you are picking from it and adding it to what you are experiencing.
That's it, exactly.
Okay. So do you worry if, is this boy lying or is he adding some to it? Because I remember the day we had the adolescents here, one of them was talking about how when the voice breaks, it's a big thing for the boys. And you find that some of them are in their class and their voice hasn't broken, so they walk about talking, you know, trying to give that impression. So did you at any point think the information my peers are talking about, is it all correct?
Well, I didn't see it as all correct.
Okay.
But as I was maturing from one stage to another, I realized that, I picked it. So those ones that were not correct, I got to know.
You got to know.
Those ones that were correct, so I got to know.
And you didn't think at any point, oh, can I talk to somebody? Can I go and talk to my father about this?
Well, my setting in the house is quite different.
What do you mean?
That kind of relationship wasn't there. That kind of friendship at home.
Okay.
Yeah, so in the house, I'm always quiet. We are not talking. And then when you go out, that's where you want to go and show up. Yeah, that's it. So that's basically the setting I'm coming from. Okay. So that kind of relationship wasn't there at that time.
With what you've gone through, the adolescent phases, now, if you had the opportunity, knowing what you know now, would you want your father or the male figure in your life to talk to you about all these changes before it happens or as it happens?
Well, it's good we talk about it before, but you can't talk about everything because as Doc was saying, every stage and what somebody is supposed to know. At a certain point, you realize that if they get an information which is more than they can take, they misunderstand it or they misinterpret it to themselves. But then if it's a bit of what...
You say they misinterpret if they get more than
Yes,
enough.
They are supposed to know, yeah.
Are you trying to say that at that particular time, there's so much they can understand, so we can't stretch beyond a certain information?
Yes, exactly. So that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So as we go through those stages, what is needed at that stage or at that particular stage should be talked about. But we should have a prior information, like before we enter into that stage. At
what age, knowing what you know today, at what age would you say that information, the prior information would be?
Well, from 10.
Age 10.
From age 10, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Now, so if today your little brother, I know you have a little brother.
Yes.
How old is he?
He's 6.
He's 6.
Yes.
And knowing that apart from puberty, there are a lot of things that go on. Yeah. Children get abused, a whole lot of things, you know. At age 6, would you, knowing that, you know, again, you're referring to the kind of environment you have at home.
Sure.
Does your father and your little brother have that kind of relationship?
Yes, it's cordial now.
It is.
So I think he learned from the past experience and experiences and maturity also setting. So
that's very interesting.
Yeah, it's better. It's way better.
Do you see your father giving him the talk?
Well, I'm mostly not at home.
No, what I mean is, do you think your father will give him the talk?
Yes, I think so. You know, at his age, they have that kind of energy. They want to be running about and all that. But sometimes I look at him in the midst of his friends. There are certain attitudes he puts up. And then it tells me that he's been talked to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so based on your experience and you're reading his body language and you're able to say that. Now, that's interesting. I mean, one thing he said that I thought was very exciting is the fact that from his father's mistakes with him, he seems to have corrected that. How many fathers do we think can do that, Mr. Babafemi? Because if we have a system where, are they even looking or are they accepting that we're falling short at some point to correct? Is that possible?
I think there are no right or wrong answer in this thing. In that case now, it's a case of maybe the father saw I should have done this by something. That something will have brought about, let me correct this.
Yeah.
If that something had not been there, it's very likely it will continue the same way. If there is no particular sign, it must have seen something that made him to do the change.
Yeah.
In my case, for instance, I mean, it's a bit strange for me to even say, let me sit you down and tell you this. I'm telling you the...
Why do you say it's strange?
No, because I didn't have that background. Of course, my father never told me anything. He never told anybody. So it wasn't whether he learned from me or he learned from another person. We just grew.
Yeah.
In fact, discussing this since last week, I was beginning to remember, do I even remember a time I was going through that stage? I can't even pick anything.
Yes, I mean, I got a very interesting message, and I have to find it. So somebody said the same thing. He says, do we remember?
I don't. I've been trying since last week. The last week and today gave me some consciousness
I gave
about
you some homework to do.
More of consciousness that, okay, think about this part of your life. And I did. I sincerely didn't remember when I moved from one stage to another.
Let me just read the message. This is from Mr. Yamson. Mr. Yamson says, we do not even remember our puberty, save the highlights. and those do not make us. I have learned just to listen and respond with all empathy and gentle advice. I know gentle advice I know can make a difference positively. I have girls, and it is a minefield. I mean, I thought that was interesting. And I have a boy, and it is a minefield.
Maybe I would say something similar, because I didn't have any. Well, I do more of watch and correct. Watch as I do, and do. And I step in occasionally if I see something. My own is more of not proactive but being reactive. That's why I say it's a no one solution fit all.
Yeah.
Mine is more reactive. I think doctor, maybe by his training, is more proactive.
I mean, that's not fair.
But it's more proactive. Maybe not just training. I believe a bit of background too will have played, if you ask him. Me, the background of it wasn't there. And when my boys, I have two boys before the girl, and sincerely, I just watch them grow. Watch me. I go to church. You go to church. When you come, you don't do what is right. I will tell you what you need to do. You correct your life. You move on. And they grew up fine guys like that. Occasionally they call me, Dad, what about this thing? So mine is more about reactive rather than being proactive.
So one can safely say that your boys really learned to discover things by themselves.
Maybe even girls. Same thing. Same thing, because like I said last week, many of these young fellows, if we don't take the step to ask them, even when you ask, they may tell you. I told you my little girl, I said, even if I stepped in, would you have given me an answer? She was smiling.
What did the smile mean?
Meaning I may not have opened up. I may not have opened up because she rather want to keep it to herself. She rather want to keep it to herself. She rather want to, when she thinks she has reached the girl's repuberty age, she doesn't want to. No, this is not like, daddy should, no, knock before you come. Of course, I know I have to do that, but so it's now more of being secretive. I don't know whether the new age is contributing to that.
I think the new age and maybe social media, because they're exposed to a lot more
information than we did in our time.
Yeah, but then again, my worry is it safe? Because the information out there, it's not like they're going into a page or website that say this is certified true information.
Yes, like I said, it's the biology of the person, and when it comes to biology, it's worldwide. So all the teenagers will run the same kind of biology. It's the cultural and religious response to it that is different. But all of them will just run the same because it's biology. Now, the difficulty we have is that if you are not interacting as the biology changes and you are using a standard questionnaire, you're going to run into problems because the biology is totally different from the questionnaire model.
Okay.
So I was lucky. I chat a lot with them on a lot of topics. So from time to time, some of these topics come up, and then we chat about, because their biology was moving at a pace I couldn't know where it is at any material point.
When you say the biology was moving at a pace, please, what do you mean by that?
You see, they are mature, like their maturity. For instance, if you take a cohort of girls, like my daughter and her friends, some of them developed faster, even though they were the same age, in the same class, than, let's say, my daughter and co. So you see that they were talking to guys at a level when these other smaller groups, maybe smaller bodies, were not at that level. So even among them, there will be the big girls and even the same class, there will be the big girls and who are more aware or say certain things, and these other people follow. But that time, at a particular time, they will still be discussing certain things, whether with the mothers or with the fathers. Now the question is, like he said, if the father thinks at that material time, what he has said struck a chord in the mind of the father, then the father can go in to do a discussion. But if it doesn't strike any chord in the mind, then the difficulty comes when to go in. Then it becomes a mechanical situation of when to go.
That mechanical thing is
yes. So that is why a lot of the analysis is going mechanical and not just the biology. So that when the biological change comes, now how we are supposed to react. Some say hide, like he said. Some say hide. Some say talk. Some say, because they are reacting to something they've seen. So in Akan, they used to say, waya prewa, like the person has become a girl who feels proud or feels big because now she has developed breast. So it's actually not a positive kind of attribution. It's like a negative attribution. So already the culture starts attributing negativity to the biological outcomes.
Wow.
Because if the hips or the boy starts getting, they say, oh, he's becoming proud now.
Or maybe he's even already doing what he's not supposed to do.
Or something. So rather they attack the biology with the negative.
Wow.
So because of that, then they decide, oh, okay, the society doesn't want this. So let's withdraw, or let's go to our boys who accept that. Because when, like he said, when they go to the school.
Interesting. And you know, I remember last time we had the young girls here, one of them mentioned how when they started developing breasts, they would use the, you know, the masher for the earthenware pot to hit the breast that is going too fast to slow it down.
Yes, because we respond negatively. So my wife is, I remember, and I'm sure she will remember, the first time when our boy, I think class, somewhere there, said, hey, a girl had told, they were driving home. They came to tell me at home. So my wife had gone to pick them and they were coming home. So the boy said, a girl had given me scholarship or something like that.
Scholarship.
Then they said in the verse, they were telling me, the kids were telling me that in the verse, then my wife said, hey, what are you saying? So they decided, okay, we won't tell her anything again. Daddy, this is how she thinks about the issue. So we kind of meet the thing with a negative issue, and then the young people conclude that, okay, it's not accepted. Because, you know, like I was telling you, the biology at that time, they check what the society accepts and what it doesn't accept, and because they are trying to identify themselves, trying to fit into society and trying to be appropriate for the society. So if the society is very negative on development, on fast development, on breast development, on shapes or whatever that comes up, because they could know that this person with this good shape is going to have a problem. And so they start attacking and attacking and attacking. So then the kids decide that, no, this is not a person to discuss
it. In a sense, we are pushing them away from talking.
Yes.
So cultural. So it comes down to the cultural setting. And again, we're talking about religion setting. When you go there now, like, no, don't talk like that. Don't talk like that. You are too young. But this person you say is young has gone far away from you.
I remember, I know I have a friend who, he says the day his wife told him that their daughter had started menstruating, he went to the pub and we had a few drinks. He went to the pub and had a few drinks. So I asked him, so what was that, the purpose of that reaction? He says, it was just the beginning of trouble.
So the negative.
Yes. Yeah. So we are consciously or subconsciously pushing them away from us. Yes. Do you think we realize what we are doing?
Perhaps not. You see, we're trying to fit them into our mode. You see, this talks back to background. The background of we that were supposed to speak with them. Where we came from is far away from where they are. We want to use the how we were brought up to handle them. You know how their own grandparents brought them up, that this is not how it is. No, so it is more or less an indirect way of, we don't know. Because we want to, I think Doctor talked about that last week, that trying to see these younger ones, trying to bring them up the same way we were brought up. Maybe at our own level, the women at our own level, for instance, maybe it takes like, they become teenager before they start even growing maybe little breast or something, maybe teenager.
Yeah, sometimes 18,
but somebody is giving birth at 11, 10. We're not able to reconcile the two. It's world apart, what they call world apart. And then it takes people to go and read, to go and understand these people and not use the old culture to train them. This, like you said, I love something he said. He said, don't use the script.
Yeah.
Follow what you are saying now.
Changes.
And follow the change. If your child is developing this at 11, 10, try and go and understand. Don't you think you understood?
Yeah.
Because your understanding is off. It's gone off. My two boys are far taller than me. And I look at my family and say, who is tall? I didn't know. Maybe the way I grew up in the farm, working, these people, so they could shoot faster. The lady could come out faster. So that I think the summary of it is that if we want to take this up, we have to unlearn what we have learned already. We learned something, but it can't fit in now. Learn a new one and use it to accept them.
Did we learn or did we experience?
Maybe we just experienced, we were growing up, but we learned. You see, learning is not just about being taught in class. You can learn from experience, how you did how your parents took you up. So you have some mindset stuck there. The same way some men have some mindset about women. Today, I think women should be used more like slaves. It's all coming from some background.
Yeah.
So we have to learn and unlearn and learn and unlearn again.
Yes, it's all right. Because my daughter would always say, Daddy, you don't understand. And like she said it a couple of times, so sometimes I call another person to discuss the issue. Because
you go for points.
Because I sincerely don't understand. Because she knows, you start it and she knows you don't have a clue what we are discussing.
Wait. Let me shift this to Sylvester. Do parents really do that? Do you feel that we don't understand, we don't get you guys?
Yes, in a way.
No, what do you mean by in a way?
Well, our time and your time, there's a difference.
Yes, we agree to that.
So what we have adapted now, the parents, they still want to rely on that old, style of getting into a conversation and not even understanding what we are talking about. They are still applying the old, how do you call it, pamphlets they learned.
The pamphlet.
African parents.
Yeah, that is it.
My children will say African mother.
Yes. So, and we also want them to know that, no, this is us now. What has set in. So
what has set in?
Yes, so that is it. You don't entirely get us.
We don't understand. We don't get you.
Yeah.
And the other one they say is mothers shout too much.
Yes.
African mother.
But you see, that one, I have an answer to that. You see, there's something we call the International Mothers Association. To pass to be a member of that association, you have to shout. To ask for shouting, we learn to shout. You know, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll open our phone lines. Welcome back to the studio. Our phone lines are going to be open now. The number to call is 0302-908-607. The number again is 0302-908-607. The number is on the screen. Listen has been made possible only by the kind support of Lesh Fortune Limited, Cresage, Nax Wardrobe, and also Mirror Spa. Thank you very much. So the lines are open now. Now, you know, Sylvester, I wanted to ask you something. With all that, I mean, you know now, okay, where would you think, where would you say that fathers are falling short when it comes to communicating, especially with the boys?
Okay, so...
During the adolescent phase, I mean.
Yeah. It's very difficult trying to point out, but...
So you use your personal experience.
Okay, for me, I think the moment we get to like primary 6, yes, that's when we are in upper primary at that time. Yeah, so that's when we are having new friends, new discoveries. We've moved a step forward, ahead. Yeah, so that moment, the parents are supposed to get close. Yeah, they're supposed to get close. And our friends, especially, they should know our friends, the kind of people that we mingle with.
So you'd like your fathers to get to know your friends?
Yes, our
Why
friends.
is that so important?
Because the conversations we have with our friends, if it's not very intact with the parents, we push it to the friends. Like, for instance, if I'm not having a good communication with my dad at home, whatever that's supposed to be discussed with my dad, I now move it to the circle of my friends. So we discuss it over there.
So how does your father knowing your friends makes a difference about what you're saying?
Well, it's just about sitting to talk. It's about sitting to talk. And you see, fathers are mature. So there are certain questions that would, like we are hitting your stomach to vomit something out.
Okay.
Yes, the blow has to be very gentle. So yes, it's, you know, conversation brings about a lot of things. Yes, so with their psychological maturity, they can digest and massage us to know things that, yeah. So
Are we sure all fathers have the psychological maturity?
Yeah, it's a difficult thing. I think because I have had the occasion to sit among my kids, their friends. They even bring them home, and we chat. They are talking about something. Maybe I'm watching something and they say something and it passes, and I go in there.
So you go in without you being invited?
Yes, you know, most times you have to get in there because the assumption first is that you don't know. Okay.
Wait, they
assume
you don't know.
You don't know. So because of that assumption, they don't easily invite you in.
Okay.
But when they come with their friends and they are chatting and something comes up, and then you bring in your experience. And like I say, I usually introduce my story.
Okay.
And then you become authentic because at that age, because their cognitive issues are coming up very fast. They are very, they select whether you are authentic, you are truthful. They quick.
Yeah.
Do
They
that.
assess a lot.
So when you are going in, you should go in so that they trust who you are. So when you go in on the high, and in their minds it's not true, then they are going to run into problems. But when you go in there, oh yes, in my time I experienced this, but this is how I started it, then they join you with their experience, and you start moving with them.
Okay.
So you will start with your experience at that age, and what you understood and what you didn't understand, so that then you come to that level, and then from there they travel with you. But if you start from high, then they know you are not in that conversation. So a lot of the fathers, because of the egos and all the issues and the cultural issues, you are supposed to stay up. And like somebody said last week, you are supposed to put a fear.
The fear of God
so
in them.
even coming to sit with them takes away that fear. So you wouldn't want to come and sit with them or be seen to be sitting with them. You are only instructional. So a lot of our homes are just instructions. Go and take this for me. Go here. Come here. Do this. Nobody is kind of chatting about a topic and just chatting without any judgmental phenomenon in it. So if we are able to get into that space and be non-judgmental, so that we can laugh off some of the issues. Like I was saying, when the young man said, oh, somebody has given a scholarship. I said, oh, yeah, in my time they gave scholarship, but this was it. Oh, it happened in your time. Then we start off. Then everybody comes to, like that. You say, no, this thing is so bad. It's never happened. The Bible says something. If you start with that, like he said, they leave you and go to the friends. Because the friends will not block that type of discussion.
Yeah, it will rather be pouring fuel in the fire for them.
Yeah, so you have to, I always say, grow with the children. Be with them. Change your position and get to where they are. And then it's easier for them to accept you. But if you are on your high horse and you come in, that one they will shut it off and assume that it's not a central type of discussion. So it's a peripheral discussion. Because at that time they are deciding what type of discussion can be done.
With you.
And where and
Yes,
with who.
and a friend of mine would always say, is this permitted? Yes. So that they are always asking, is this permitted? Is that permitted? Is this permitted? So as you walk around saying this is not permitted, this is not permitted, this is not, you are kind of blocking all the areas of conversation that could have been held. So that is where the difficulty comes in.
So, talking about is this permitted, is that permitted, and the restrictions, is it safe to, if for a father who feels that, look, I'm not cut out to give a talk, but whatever questions you have, you can come to me. How easy is that for a father to do?
That works for me. What you are saying right now works for me. And like Doc said, make yourself accessible. If that's the method you want to use, whichever method you want to use, be accessible by these people.
Okay.
If I say, feel free to call me when you have an issue, you must have been making yourself accessible. Because if you're not, when they have issue, they will not call you.
Yeah.
That works for me. We talk, like my son said, he said, come to think about it, because I don't know whether they're watching now. Last week, the second boy sent me a message that when I said, I did more of you watch and do. So he now said, come to think about it. That's what he said. He said, less talking, more of action. That's what he sent. He said that's what he noticed it has been for all of them. But they come to that they want to ask you something, because I try not to be judgmental. I try not to bring the old completely into the new. Now, don't let us get them wrong. That it isn't that the old is completely bad. There are virtues, values in the old, but it can be brought into this new environment, borrow some leave there, borrow part of your own, and meet midway. Like, for instance, when we told them, you're not going to use phone at certain stage, I let them know that, first know that it isn't that I don't have money to buy.
Okay.
You know I can afford it. You know I can buy you anything. And at that stage too, you are buying them things you know.
Yeah.
It isn't that you are depriving them. But we told them 1, 2, 3, and they all got it. No, I didn't use phone. But that wasn't the reason.
Yeah. Why you won't use a phone?
Why I don't want them to use phone. So, but I brought that. This was the advantage we had not using phone. In our own case, there was no phone. Okay, so you didn't have a choice. But these were some of the advantages we had not using phone. But in your time, phone is there. We're not saying don't use completely. This is why you shouldn't. So, but use hours. So you see, it's a mixed, a balance. I made myself available, and that's what I think people in that category who can't be proactive, who can't be proactive in talking, make yourself accessible so that occasionally when they really need a matured person to ask a question, they can find you worthy.
You know, I don't know about how this works in Nigeria, but in Ghana, I remember that when you were growing up, your mother will blink at you and you know what she's saying. You know, blink is Instagram. I mean, growing up.
It's the same.
Ah.
Where this part of the world is
so you blink and you know it's Instagram. They stamp their foot, you know it's Facebook. They do something else, you know it's WhatsApp. That's what, you know, that's the difference. But you find, I have a friend who, his son is 16, and he's still doing that communication with him. Does that still work at that age?
This is where we say the problem is. The problem of completely carrying the old into the new. They will be looking for the day they will run away from you. You don't want that thing to happen. And I think in most cases, this happens from the women.
Today we are talking about the fathers.
In most cases, this happens from the women trying to, it's still my boy, it's still my boy. We men, the reason we don't talk too much is, we want grow up. It's just, please leave him, let him grow. He can do it. No, are you sure? The woman with, are you sure? Are you sure he can do this? Are you sure? Let him be. And the boy too want to be.
When you go to labor ward, you won't think that way.
and you see, I asked the older girl. She was telling me that the fear of the parents also play a lot of part in how they communicate.
Correct.
Because they've seen people go wayward, astray. So their approach is just warnings. That if you do this, you get pregnant. You do this, you go wayward. You do this, you go this. So their approach, she was telling me today before I came that approach is the reality, that they fear people will go wayward. And because of that, they don't go into the details of the whys, but they just give the stern warnings.
Give the warnings and not explain.
And the stern warnings so that you don't go any close, like you were saying, you don't go any close to any trouble. And you close, you come home, you close, you come home. So those are the areas where she taught the fear of the parent or the experience, since that has, or the understanding. When it generates a lot of fear in the parent, then the communication with the youth becomes just stern warnings all over the place. And like you said, the women will be shouting.
Hey, I didn't say.
Well, at least the women will be shouting for every little issue. They shout. So the kids decide that
we shout because of panic. You know, it's like you know how this is going to end. You've seen it before. So immediately, you don't become calm. You go into a state of frenzy panic, you know, beyond the bar. And then you gather yourself together. But I think the mistake we make also is when we gather ourselves together, we don't sit and explain why we shouted. So it's been zero effort completely. Would you say that, Sylvester, do you think that parents are administering their fears on you adolescents?
In a way, yes. In a way, no. Yes, because like Doug was saying, no, you were saying it, that you know the outcome already. Yes, so you are assuming that the same thing can also happen. A couple of times I've watched my younger siblings play, and they are doing some kind of things. You are emotional, like, hey, what are you doing? You realize that nobody gets hurt. Like, Charlie, you cry off ferry. So the situations are different. Yes, the situations are different. So sometimes the parents fear because they were doing, maybe they did the same thing and that was the result. And so they fear that we also end up having the same result.
Okay, so I'm going to ask Mr. Bafrin, what is your greatest fear as a father?
You say, for the sake of this program, I will use the word I'm religious, but I know I'm not into religion.
Okay.
I'm very real. I don't have fear.
You don't have a fear?
Yes, or I have conquered
the fears.
The fears with God's word.
Okay. I was going to ask how you do that.
I have conquered, and I try to put the same in my children. I built that, or I'm building that into them. Fear is real. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. We
are in a world of battles, seen and unseen.
Okay.
But the victory is more sure, even than the battles themselves. And so you put in them, they see you how you are handling life. All right? I handle life. Mine is different. I handle life with God's word.
That's it.
I mean, and I try to give them the same thing. I didn't want to make the religion out of them. Way of life. Mine is quite different from how many of these things is. I'm real, and I want them to be real. It isn't that no. That you can't. They will see fear. They will see challenges.
Yeah.
But this is how to overcome it. And if you go this way, you're almost sure
it will work.
It will work.
It will work. So we ran out of time, but I wanted you to tell me in a few words what your greatest fear is as a father.
Well, I think not knowing and not understanding what they are saying.
Wow, that's powerful. Sylvester doesn't have a greatest fear because he's not a father. I mean, all too soon our time is up, and today we have tried to close on the topics of fathers and the information they have. Next week we bring the mothers, the shouting galore. So next week we bring the mothers in studio, and today again you've been listening to listen, you've been watching Listen, and we say a big thank you to Mr. Babafemi, to Sylvester J, Mr. Dr. Andy Ayum, and for Mr. Chumesi and Reverend Otu, who are not here today, we say a big thank you. So stay tuned next week, same time, and we have the mothers. It's going to be exciting. Again, we will have a female gynecologist on set with us to discuss further about all the changes for the adolescent female. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Natalie Techiapia.